Welcome to this week's edition of Porter County Perspective, WDSO's long-running interview segment which features the people, places, and organizations working to make Northwest Indiana a great place to live. My name is Tonelli, and this week's guest is Dan Tolson of the nonprofit organization Toys for Tots. And thank you so much for coming in, Dan. I look forward to learning more about Toys for Tots.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
First of all, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and how did you become involved with Toys for Tots?
Okay, as you mentioned, my name is Dan Tolson. I'm a graduate from Valpo High School in 1989. I joined the Marine Corps shortly after graduation. I served in Desert Storm in 1991 as a tank driver. And I'm also part of the Marine Corps League in Valparaiso, and I have been part of Toys for Tots for the last 10 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your service.
That's my honor.
And when did you first become interested in being a part of this organization particularly? And was there anything that drew you to Toys for Tots?
I became interested in Toys for Tots after joining the Marine Corps League there in Valparaiso. The Dunes Leatherneck Detachment 1056 of the Marine Corps League in Valparaiso has been running the Toys for Tots campaign, which covers Porter, Stark, and Jasper County. For the last 24 years. What drew me to the program was how such a great program was able to help so many families in need.
Yeah. And what are some of the goals of this organization, and how do you go about making sure that those goals are met every year?
So our goal is through the gift of a new toy. Helps bring joy of Christmas and send a message of hope to America's economically disadvantaged children. We go about this by reaching out to the community for their support through various toy drives, local events, and working with local businesses as toy drop-off locations.
All right. And do you know some of the history behind Toys for Tots? Maybe who started it or how it became an organization to begin with? And how did it expand through Porter County?
So Toys for Tots began in 1947. It was the brainchild of Marine Corps Reserve Major Bill Hendricks. Actually, it was his wife, Diane, who was the real inspiration. She had a few handcrafted dolls and asked Bill to deliver them to an agency that supports children in need. So when Bill came back, he reported to his wife that he couldn't find such an organization, and she instructed him, start one. So Major Hendricks and the Marines in his reserve unit in Los Angeles collected and distributed 5,000 toys in 1947. And seeing such a successful community engagement in 1947, the Commandant of the Marine Corps directed all Marine Corps Reserve sites across the nation to implement a Toys for Tots program, transforming it into a national community action program in 1948. So our local campaign, like I mentioned earlier, covers Porter, Stark, and Jasper County. Was started by Jim Atkinson, a Vietnam Marine Corps veteran, and also a member of the Dunes Leatherneck Detachment in Valparaiso. The program started small. We initially held toy distributions there at the American Legion Post 94 in Valpo, and to having toys being distributed on a large scale at the Porter County Expo Center.
All right. Now, I know you work for sort of the Northwest Indiana division of it, but do you know overall how many campaign sites the organization has expanded to?
The Marine Corps Toys for Tots program has approximately 800 local campaign coordinators throughout all 50 states.
Oh. Do you have any data that tells us overall how many toys have been distributed by Toys for Tots, and do you have any numbers that tell us how much has been distributed locally?
Yes. So since 1947, the program has evolved and grown exponentially, having delivered hope and magic of Christmas to over 301 million economically disadvantaged children. In 2003, the Marine Corps Toys for Tots program collectively distributed 2.5 million toys, books, and other gifts to 10.3 economically disadvantaged children, and that was just in 2003. Last year, our campaign in Porter, Stark, and Jasper County, we collected over 12,155 toys which were distributed to 2,206 children in need.
That's wonderful. And if a person or if a business in particular was interested in sort of partnering with you guys, how would they go about doing that and contacting you?
They could. I would recommend them contacting our campaign via email, which is valparaiso.in@toysfortots.org, or they can call 219-280-0824.
Does your organization have a website where people can go and view maybe where to drop off toys?
Yes, our website can be found off a Nationals website by searching for a local campaign, by just putting in what county what state you live in and what county, and it would take you directly to that campaign's website. But for our campaign, our website is valparaiso-in.toysfortots.org. And on there, we list some drop-off locations where the community can drop off toys. It's not all of them because we have a lot of drop locations, but that's just some of the major ones people normally go visit.
Yeah, so that can definitely be helpful for some people.
Absolutely.
Is there a specific type of toy maybe you guys are really in need of, or a type that you can't take?
The toys we accept have to be new and unwrapped. Toys for Tots does not accept used toys, realistic-looking weapons, gifts with food, or toys related to law enforcement.
All right. And what kind of age range of children do you collect toys for?
So our campaign supports children, boys and girls, ages 0 to 12 years old.
And do you have any donation ideas that you think there is a particular need for across the nation?
For the nation, I can't speak to, but for our campaign, the donations we could use are more toys for 0 to 2-year-olds and for ages 10 to 12. Items suggested for the 10 to 12 age groups have included but aren't limited to sporting equipment, balls, bags, backpacks, books, cosmetics, purses, watches, wallet, gift sets, bath gift sets, board games, radio-controlled cars and trucks, handheld electronics, skateboards, bicycles, curling ironing, hair straighteners, and hair dryers. We found that through our toy distribution, those age groups tend to be the ones with the less amount of gifts that we have to choose from.
And if someone is struggling to find assistance in purchasing their Christmas gifts for their kids, how would you direct them to ask for help?
Well, we don't assist with the purchasing of toys directly with families, but if a family is in need, they can visit a local trustee in their area, which I list some of them on our website I mentioned earlier. They can visit their local Family Youth Services Bureau, Salvation Army. I know that Family Youth Services and the trustees have an application. Should a family in need request toys, they can fill out the application with those people.
Oh. And what kind of qualifications would be on that application?
To receive toys from Toys for Tots, the children must be between the ages of birth and 12 years old. And family must provide proof of eligibility, such as, a letter from food stamps, Medicaid, WIC, or free school lunches. They have to have a valid ID, proof of address, and a proof of a child's date of birth.
Right. And are there any other ways that the public could help with Toys for Tots and their mission besides donating toys?
The general public also can help through monetary donations to our local campaign or volunteering. Donations can be made directly off of National's website, and they can select which campaign they wish to support. And, they can volunteer either helping out with, toy drives or toy distribution.
All right. And we all know that there are some Toys for Tots drop-off boxes everywhere, but are there any upcoming fundraisers or toy drives that you could tell us about?
So our campaign has a couple local events here. We're coming up on the first one, which is Winter Lights at Sunset Hill Park here in Valparaiso. So it's November 23rd. It's the opening day of the drive-through lights, and we'll be at the opening. We'll be at the front gates from 4 to 6 p.m. So we'll have our detachment members there with boxes, welcoming the visitors to the lights, and hopefully collecting some toys for kids. The second event that we have, we also be. It's not necessarily a toy drive, but November 30th here in Chesterton is the parade, the night parade. Our Toys for Tots float that we had in the Popcorn Festival in Valparaiso. We will also be having that Toys for Tots float here in Chesterton at the parade.
Oh, awesome.
It will be, unfortunately, Santa couldn't make it. He's kind of busy this year, but we'll have some Marine Corps recruiters and dress blues on the float also. After that, our next event is in Valpo at Central Park Plaza called Holidays, and that's December 7th from 3 to 6. And we'll be having, you can't miss us. We have a big red canopy with the Marine Corps logo on it. Also on December 7th in Portage at the Portage City Hall, there's Christmas with Santa, and that's from 12 to 3. And then on Sunday, December 8th in Valparaiso at Foundation Park there in Campbell, from 4 to 6 will be Santa and Sirens. If you haven't been there and you want to see my dog Major in dress blues, it's a great time.
All right. And can you tell us how a Toys for Tots season collection and distribution campaign works?
Yeah, Toys for Tots season runs from October 1st through about mid-December, depending on the campaign. Our campaign, businesses usually put up their boxes shortly after Halloween, and boxes are collected about a week from distribution day. A few days before distribution, the volunteers that we have start setting up the expo center with tables and begin bringing over the toys that we've collected so far and setting them up inside the expo center. And then on distribution day, families who have filled out an application, they show up, they go through registration, and then and that's from the 9 to 2 at the expo center. And after they check in, they wait, and our volunteers go out and collect their toys and bring them to the families.
All right. Is there anyone that's part of our local Toys for Tots chapter that you think deserves a special shout out for their hard work and dedication?
Yes, I always like to give shout out to our volunteers. They always deserve a special shout out for all the hard work they do. They volunteer their time. They put in long hours distributing and collecting toys. Again, as volunteers, so no one is getting paid. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, and they're using their own time and money to, for gas and everything to go run around and collect up all these toys. So I appreciate all the volunteers that I have and the dedication that they have to the program.
And does Toys for Tots work really hard for a couple of months as Christmas approaches, or is it sort of a year-long event and campaign that goes on?
That depends on the campaign. I know for our campaign, we do work really hard from October through December, but also the work continues with the community all year long. We often receive toy donations outside a 3-month campaign. I was contacted this summer with a business that said, hey, I got some toys, you want to take them? And I'm like, absolutely, we'll take them. So if businesses have toys they'd like to donate, our doors open year round for mostly.
Yeah. Are there any ways to fulfill specific requests for toys, or does Toys for Tots purchase these special requests? And if so, how does that process work?
Well, our campaign at times has taken special requests depending on the child and their needs at registration, but we don't take like special orders.
Yeah.
I want a Barbie, I want a special this and that. That we don't do. If we have a toy that could that was donated that met that need, then we would try to fulfill that. But we don't go out and purchase needs for the children like that. But if we have something, they have a request, they're allergic to something, or they don't, this doesn't work well, can you exchange it? more than happy to help them out with that.
Right. And is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about Toys for Tots or any of the upcoming toy drives and collections that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, I'd just like to thank the community and the businesses for all their support in the 3 counties that we do have. All that they do to help the children in the counties we support, I couldn't be more appreciative of it. The generosity is outstanding. But we're always looking to reach more kids in Porter, Stark, and Jasper County. So that's my drive, is to continuously reach out to organizations and businesses throughout the counties and, make our campaign known and, hope for their support.
Yeah. All right. And then just to keep it fresh in everyone's mind, can you remind us one more time about the upcoming toy drives that the public can participate in and where to be on the lookout for the donation boxes?
Sure. Again, our local events at Sunset Hill Park on November 23rd, Winter Lights. We'll be there from 4 to 6. We'll be in the Chesterton Parade on November 30th. We'll also be at Central Park Plaza for Holidays on December 7th from 3 to 6. As well as at Portage City Hall, Christmas with Santa, December 7th, 12 to 3. And we also do Santas and Sirens at Valparaiso Foundation Park, December 8th, 4 to 6. And our website, again, is valparaiso-in.toysfortots.org. And we also list some drop-off locations on those sites.
All right. And that's going to wrap everything up for this week's edition of the Porter County Perspective. Our guest this week has been Dan Tolson, and thank you again for coming in, and thank you for all you do to brighten the Christmas for kids all around our area. This has been Tonelli signing off.